I have just got to thank you all so incredibly much. I have been blown away by the nature and quantity of the support I've received from this campaign, and I mean quantity as in like how much each person who has supported the campaign has supported the campaign. When I planned this campaign, I was trying to be very conservative, which is something, in even in many senses, in a fiscal sense, in a political sense, in a social sense, I have a problem with. And so I believed I needed to set the goal according to the fiscal worst case scenario, right? I wanted to make sure that there was a price point for the book that was the most accessible. And so I put the margin of the book on the book at 8 to 10%, depending on little variables and exactly how many people backed it, which would determine my production, cost ratio. So basically, at a 10% margin, that means with a $20,000 goal, I get $2,000 to finish the book. So that's after the costs of printing the book and all the other things, the Kickstarter fees and taxes, and actually didn't even include taxes. I get taxed on that $2,000. So that margin of 10%, worst case scenario, meaning people just order the paperback book or even the hardcover book, it's about the same margin, and none of the higher backing rates and don't throw in a little extra. At that margin, that's how I got to the $20,000 goal mark. That's how I got that number. No one has pledged that exactly. Almost no one. The average contribution right now is $65, and some folks haven't even asked for a book. Although, if you're one of those people, you're getting a copy of the book. That's not right. I hope you want to read my book. I don't know, but when I was at 10% of the ask for this campaign, I already had more than $2,000 coming to me from the campaign because the support was that high. That's why I say like the quantity, the weight of the support that I've received. There are people who believe in me in this project who haven't even seen the inside of this book, and it's big for me. It's very, very big. Kickstarter, of course, though, is an all or nothing platform. So I have to get all the way to $20,000, which means I need to find another 250 people who will back at the average pledge amount, which is now $65, or more than that if people, if we get a bunch of people who do just want the book. So I at this point really need to reach out to more folks. Social media isn't so much helping me. The algorithm, once I started posting content that was promotional, my reach plummeted to practically nothing compared to my audience size on Instagram. And so I desperately need you if any of us are going to get this book. This book is dear to me because it not because it contains answers to social problems. It doesn't contain the answers to social problems, but it does contain very specific methodical breakdowns of how to arrive at answers that my clients have used to decrease the housing attrition in the Bay Area, meaning prevent people from becoming homeless in the Bay Area. That's a strategy project I worked on. The strategy is in this book. How to argue online so that you win over people towards open-mindedness. That's something I've done. Some of you have seen me do it dozens of times. That's in this book. How to how to improve your relationships. How to the wins that I do seem to get, which are social in certain contexts. Maybe not in terms of crowdfunding and finances, but the wins that I have learned with my clients and mentors about, they're based on methods. They're not based on having the answer beforehand. They're based on practices, on disciplines, and on methods. And those methods are in this book. Many of them condensed into one space, and the relationships between those methods and the principles that govern the relationships between those methods are in this book. I want to get this to the world, and the couple dozen people who deeply believe in me have already pledged very generously in this campaign. And now I need all of you to reach out to your network and share the link to the campaign. Because if this book doesn't get to people, and I quite frankly can't afford to finish the book in a timely fashion without some support. Like I'll keep working on this book. I've been honestly working on it since about 1999. Parts of it have come out in other publications. I mentioned Utopian Communique, In Defense of Dropping Bombs, all kinds of different publications I've put out. Wernicke, some of y'all read Wernicke. Pieces of this theory have come out over the last 20 years, and I've been refining it and improving it, and I'll keep doing that, maybe for another 20 years. But right now, if I get this support, I'm going to get a really good version of this body of thought out to the world if this campaign succeeds. And I mean, in truth, I've got some contingency plans. Earlier today, I met with a much more successful entrepreneur who I'm really hoping to retain as an advisor. And I got some ideas about contingency plans. I kind of don't even want to touch them. I want to sit down and finish this book and start helping people directly to interact with this work. And, part of this campaign, some of y'all read the fine print, looking at you, John, is that there is a community platform that I'm launching in support of this book. Everyone who gets that webbook access gets into that lifetime membership. The web access is $12 lifetime membership. Not going to do that outside of this Kickstarter campaign. But that means that you can comment on any section of this book, and there'll be discussion forums on the whole thing, so that we can talk about the projects that you're involved in, the problems you're involved in, everything. And I want that to exist. And this campaign was designed to make that exist. And if this campaign doesn't succeed, I don't have the resources to do that. So reach out to your friends and family. If we get 250 people to back at the average pledge amount right now, which I'm looking at it's $65.48. That's the average pledge amount. If we get 250 people to back at an average of that, which is the average currently, this campaign is locked, and we make it happen, and we start changing lives right now. Please help me do that. Get me over the finish line, and we'll all get over the finish line together. And this body of thought, which contains, comprehensive methods for arguing well and getting through conflict together, and for creating community sovereignty based on how people have succeeded at doing it in the past. It's all brought together in this one place. And let's make it happen together.